I'm Alexis.
And I'm Tiffany, and we're the hosts of Legit KidLit, a video series where we get to see into the secret and silly lives of authors and illustrators.
We love to celebrate and promote books, but most of all, we want to say hey to all you readers out there trying to find that right book for you. We hope that you can find some new reads after today.
Today's guest is author of the Legends of the Lost Causes series. The third and final book came out in March 2020. If you like zombies, westerns, or spooky stories, this book is for you. He's a great writer, but has an even greater heart.
Brad McLelland is an author who goes above and beyond for readers and educators. Last spring, our nation shut down and schools closed and we were all virtual for the very first time and our world was kind of flipped. And one thing that my team of teachers and I love to do was celebrate birthdays with the students, and now we had 3 months of not being able to celebrate those students and their wonderful birthdays, and they also weren't able to have their parties. So I reached out to some authors about sending a fun message, and Brad answered quickly. He sent me a video of a song about the kids and their birthdays, and it was wonderful and amazing, and they will never forget that. So this was huge for the kids, and just one example of Brad and his kindness.
I call this the Ballad of the Tiger Pack. A long time ago in a land far away came a pack of tigers who had a birthday. They romped up and down the backyards and fields. They climbed up trees and scurried over hills. Now this pack of tigers, they weren't the bad sort. They were heroes and champions looking for evil to thwart. They combed through the towns in search of outlaws, hoping to bring peace and justice and law. Their birthday was special because it was a good old time to celebrate goodness and peace for humankind. But then along came a mean old son who thought he could stop those tigers and their fun. The tigers joined hands and faced that threat and sent that old dude packing without breaking a sweat. What's the moral of this story, you say? Never try to stop a tiger from celebrating their birthday. Happy birthday, tigers! From me and Lewis and the Lost Causes, we wish you a very happy, healthy, and safe birthday. Sending love from Oklahoma. Bye-bye.
Brad, thank you so much for joining us today. We are so excited to celebrate you and your books. Can you pitch your book to one of our viewers? So how would you sell it and who should read it?
Hello, Alexis and Tiffany. I'm very excited to join you today. And I really appreciate the kind words. I always love doing things for students as often as I can. And getting to talk with middle grade teachers and middle grade gatekeepers like you is really fun to me, and I appreciate the work that you do. Now, to answer your question, let's see. And I'm holding my cell phone. This is the first time I've ever done an interview on my cell phone before. I always do it on a computer, so this is going to be a little bit of a learning curve. I'm on Marco Polo for the first time. So anyway, to pitch my books, Legends of the Lost Causes. Let's start with genre. It's Western fantasy for upper middle graders, so think ages 10 to 14. And it is high action. There's lots of spooky action in the books. I like to pitch it as Harry Potter on the saddle in the Old West. That's how I like to envision it. It's about a young orphan boy named Keach Blackwood who lives with a foster father named Pa Abner Carson at the Abner Carson's Home for Lost Causes in Missouri. And a really, really vicious gang of outlaws who may or may not control some deadly dark magic descend upon the Home for Lost Causes and burn it to the ground. And that basically begins the story. Keach goes on a quest for basically justice for his fallen family. And so along the way, he picks up some help from some other orphans on the trail, and they form what the Old West would call a posse, a team of vigilante orphan riders who get on their horses and they follow these outlaws across the Old West. And what begins then is just a chase for ancient relics, a chase to avenge their families, and it takes them all the way through Missouri into Kansas Territory, through the Rocky Mountains and beyond. There's lots of magic, lots of monsters, lots of spooky situations. And if you like movies like Indiana Jones and the Goonies, I think this kind of story is for you. There are 3 books in the Legends of the Lost Causes series. We call it a trilogy, obviously. And book 1 is called Legends of the Lost Causes. The first one looks like that. The second one that came out in February of 2019, about a year or 2 years ago now almost, is called The Fang of Bonfire Crossing. And book 3, which just came out, as Alexis said, this past March of 2020, is called The Key of Skeleton Peak. And it concludes Keech's long tale of justice for his fallen family.
Your Legends of the Lost Causes series is co-authored. Can you tell us what that looks like?
I sure can. My co-author of the Legends of the Lost Causes series, his name is Louis Sylvester. We met in way back in 2008 when I started attending Oklahoma State University as a creative writing student. I went to OSU to get my Master's of Fine Arts while Louis was there getting his PhD in creative writing. So on occasion we would run into the halls and talk with each other, and so we started talking at a friend's birthday party one day about our passions and our reading interests and things like that. And I told him that I had this old Western fantasy idea back from my undergrad days that I had never done anything with, and Louis was really fascinated. I knew that he enjoyed reading fantasy and sci-fi and a lot of the same things that I did, so I basically approached him at our friend's birthday party while we were eating chocolate cake, and I asked him, hey, would you be interested in talking with me further about this series? I think that you would make a pretty cool writing partner. And he was just a really laid-back guy. I really enjoyed being around him. We just got along so well. So we would go to coffee shops and restaurants and sit with, he drinks Pepsi, so he would have a Pepsi and I would have coffee, and we would talk, and eventually we started filling up notebooks. And so basically what that morphed into was Google Docs. After we got basically a rough outline of the first few books done, on paper, basically, we transferred a lot of our notes into Google Docs when we discovered the joy of that tool. And we started working in Google Docs together, sometimes live. And we continue to work in Google Docs together even now. So at times when I go in and I write, I will see Louis's little icon up there, and I'll send him a chat, and he'll send me a chat, and we'll talk out a plot point, we'll talk out a piece of dialogue, and then I'll go work on a section of the book, and he'll work on a section. Sometimes he'll delete my stuff as I'm looking, and I'll delete his stuff while he's looking. But we try to be very cordial to each other. Basically, what we did with Lost Causes was we would go back and forth with a chapter. So he would write a chapter, and shoot it over to me or let me know in Google Docs when it was ready for me to look at. And I would and I would actually read his chapter, and I would do some fine-tooth combing through it. I would edit it a little bit, polish it a little bit for my voice and my tone, and then I would kick it back over to him, and he would do a little bit more polishing, and then I would write the second chapter. So in that way, we were sort of a perpetual motion machine of editing and workshopping each other's work, and we were able to write very quickly that way. And after a long stretch of working on the first book, when we started getting deadlines for the other books, we found that the Google Doc method of going back and forth with chapter writing really worked well. So I really enjoy my collaboration with Louis. He's a great guy. Unfortunately, he lives in Idaho, so he's more than 1,000 miles away from me right now. So we rarely get a chance to see each other. The last time I saw him face-to-face was in Denver, Colorado in 2018. So it's been a while. We just thought we'd do all of our work through phone and via Google Docs. I actually joke about the deleting each other's work a lot, but Louis does like to tell a story in public whenever we're talking about one day when we were working, I think, on book 3, the early days of book 3. He said we were in the document together, and he had written the most beautiful, well-constructed sentence he had ever written, and he loved it. And then he said he saw my little icon go in there and just delete it right in front of his eyes. So I don't think I did that, but Lewis, I apologize if I did. If I destroyed your masterpiece sentence, I deeply apologize, and I will come rake your yard whenever I'm close to you.
So what are you working on right now?
Lewis and I are working on a super top secret project. It's going to be our 4th book. I honestly can't say anything about it, not even the title yet, because the publisher is still working on things on their end, and they like to be super secret in the early days of a project. What I can tell you is that it is a standalone novel, not part of a series or not part of the Lost Causes, and it is a contemporary story. So you're going to see us move from the Old West and into the modern era. And I can tell you that it's things that I can share. Let me think. I think I can say that it is set in the Midwest of America, so there's a Midwestern flavor to it. And it might or might not center around a very strange town. And I'm not going to tell you any more just yet, but what we're hoping is that in early 2021, our publisher, Henry Holt Books for Young Readers, will give us the authorization to share the title and maybe a very quick synopsis. We're not entirely sure what we're going to be able to release yet. We've got a bit of a longish wait on book 4. It won't be published, unfortunately, until early 2023, but that's because of Henry Holt's schedule. And we have to get the book into things like the editing process in 2021. We've got to get it into copy edit, which will be probably early 2022, and then they have to start the artwork phase and the layout phase. So there's a lot that goes into the production of a book, and our editor, our wonderful editor, Brian Geffen, wanted to make sure that he gave this plenty of time. So there might be a bit of a wait on book 4, but we can promise you we're almost done with it. We can see how it's shaping up. It's super creepy stuff, and we can't wait to share it with everyone. And it's going to be another upper middle grade novel. So think again, ages 10 to 14, maybe even 9 to 13 on this age range. So we're super excited. More to come on that, I promise.
Very exciting and super intriguing. I think you touched on this a little bit earlier, but how has writing and or reading changed for you during the pandemic?
That's a fantastic question. Of course, no one expected the pandemic to come along and shut things down the way they did. In terms of my own writing schedule, the shutdowns and being at home more really hasn't changed my writing as much. One larger way, I guess, that the pandemic has changed that process for me is that I used to go to a lot of coffee shops, and I would sit at a local restaurant in a booth, and I would have coffee, and I would sit there for hours and just pour over my notes and sip on hot cocoa and lattes and things like that. And I felt really at home at coffee shops, and I had a lot of creative energy at coffee shops and in the booth of my little restaurant here. But that all changed. So I've had to do a lot of the book 4 writing, most of the book 4 writing, just in my own home office, which kind of changes the dynamic just a little bit for me in my head. But once I got used to that, small change, the words just kept coming, and I have a coffee maker here, so I'll just go get my coffee from the kitchen and I'll bring it back to myself. It's not as good as a latte, but oh well. In terms of reading, I would say obviously I'm a bookshop fanatic. I love going to bookshops, and that really changed as well. I haven't been able to go to bookshops this year. Bookstores, shut down at the very beginning in my town and in the surrounding towns. So I kind of had to, play a wait and see if a bookstore would offer a mask mandate. So, maybe a couple of people could come in and do some shopping. And I did go into bookstores sort of in mid-2020 when it was just me and I had my mask on and I got to look around a little bit. But I haven't really been able to do a whole lot of book shopping. So in terms of my own personal reading, I've been relying more on what I have in my shelves, and I've got a big to-be-read pile, so that really hasn't been much of a problem.
What advice would you give our viewers for navigating their reading and writing lives when the whole world feels upside down?
It's a great question. I would say that in addition to picking up a great book and reading it and giving yourself that escapism, you might consider, reaching out electronically to your friends and family, particularly friends and family you haven't heard from in a good while. Stay connected in any way you can that is safe. My stepdaughter, for example, uses Kit Messenger, and she connects with her friends, and she will talk with her friends electronically. So, reach out to them. Let them hear your voice. Let them see your face over your phone even. Tell jokes. Be uplifting. Encourage them. Let them know that we're going to get out of this, and it's going to be very soon, and we'll all be able to hug each other again and go to bookstores and have a big celebration.
All right, we're going to follow your advice and get a little silly with some would you rather questions. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I think I'm ready. Maybe I'm not ready, but I'm going to try it.
All right, hold your horses. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. Would you rather the aliens that make first contact be robotic or organic?
Ooh, excellent question. Okay, robotic versus organic aliens who make first contact. Okay, I'm going to say that even though they would probably be a little scarier, I'm going to go with organic, because an organic being can be outmaneuvered maybe. You can outrun them and they might get tired. Versus a robot who probably will not get tired unless they run out of gas or oil. But I would say that the chances of maybe escaping a hostile alien who is organic probably would be a little bit easier.
Okay, next question. Would you rather give up air conditioning and heating for the rest of your life, or give up the internet for the rest of your life?
And voila, because my cell phone was dying, I had to plug in my kitchen, so change of setting. Okay, to answer your question, let's see. If I had to give up HVAC, heating and air, or internet, I gotta go with internet. I gotta have my heating and air. I really do. I think that internet would be much easier to get rid of if, I've got some heat and my teeth aren't chattery. You can ask my wife. I get really cold. So I don't like chattery teeth, and I don't like getting too hot either. So internet's gone.
Would you rather be able to control animals with your mind or control electronics? And the animals don't include humans.
Oh, good question, but I don't think that I would be able to live with myself if I controlled animals. I'm a huge animal lover. Wouldn't want to get into their wee little minds and control them, so I'm going to go with the other option there.
Okay, I have one more would you rather, if you're ready. Would you rather be forced to sing along or dance to every single song that you hear?
Oh man, that is a fabulous would you rather. I'm not that good of a dancer, but singing really takes it out of you after a while, so every single song singing, but then again, dancing is a lot of aerobics and a lot of exercise. But I do enjoy singing. I'm going to go with singing. I want to sing every song. I think dancing every song would probably get me way too tired.
All right, speaking of singing, what song, when it comes on, turns you into a karaoke star?
Okay, there are lots of songs that turn me into a karaoke star in my car. That doesn't mean I'm going to actually karaoke those songs, but lots of songs do. I really, really enjoy like 2000s rock and earlier rock. I've been a musician all of my life, so I really, really love the band Jimmy Eat World. And whenever the song The Middle comes on, I go wild in my car, and I sing it at the top of my lungs. And in my old bands, we've covered that before, and I have an acoustic duo that I do with a friend of mine, and we play The Middle, and we love it. That's my karaoke jam, for sure.
All right, so picture this. You're in your car, driving down the highway. It's a beautiful day, and The Middle comes on the radio. Sing it.
Oh, you had to go there, didn't you? Okay, well, if we're going to do this right, there we go. See, I'm not a dancer. Okay, I'm driving, the middle comes on. Oh yeah, Jimmy Eat World. Hey, don't write yourself off yet. It's only in your head you feel left out or looked down on. Just try your best. Try everything you can. And don't you worry what they tell themselves. Uh-oh, I just wrecked. I'm getting back on the road. When you're away, it just takes some time. Little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be alright. Okay, enough of that.
That was awesome. You have a beautiful voice.
I have a voice for writing books. That's what I have a voice for.
So you can write, you can sing. Do you have any other hidden talents you'd like to share with our viewers?
Oh, other hidden talents. Let's see. Okay, so being a writer, obviously I'm pretty good at being on a typewriter. I took typing classes when I was younger, so I got really fast at typing. I'm a speed typist. Before I was clocked in at over 100 words a minute. And I can look at the screen without having to look at my fingers. And my wife can do that too, and she says her middle grade crew are really impressed with that. So you should be impressed with that little hidden talent of ours. I'm also a drummer, so I'm like really super fast banging on things. I won't put you through that, but I do have very speedy hands. So other than that, I'm really good at mowing lawns and raking leaves.
What is your most cringeworthy middle school moment?
My most cringeworthy middle school moment was when I was in the 3rd grade, and I was in Arkansas where I grew up in my school, and I was racing my friend Robbie across a parking lot, really hauling it, because I considered myself super fast, not just on the typewriter, but out on the playground. I was super fast. So there I was racing along, and I looked back at Robbie to see where he was, and I looked back this way to see where I was going, and bam! I hit the backside of a parked van, and it knocked me cold. I think I was probably knocked cold for about 5 minutes. Everybody came out to look, and so that was very cringeworthy because I should have been watching where I was going, and I didn't. And another cringeworthy racing my friend Robbie moment. This is a true story. I was racing the same kid, my same friend, across the same parking lot one day, and looked back at Robbie. This is a true story. Second time after the parked van incident, and looked back at where I was going. Bam! Ran into a fence and knocked a little pole on the fence gate right through my bottom lip. And I was stuck on that fence with my bottom lip on that pole for about 20 minutes while they called the paramedics. So maybe I shouldn't race Robbie across parking lots. That's the moral of that story. Very cringeworthy moments for Brad. Never want to talk about them again. Thank you for bringing up horrible, terrible memories in my mind. I will never forgive you and never race you across a parking lot.
Oh no, those are painful memories.
Yes, they are. Yes, they were very painful. Still are.
That Robbie sounds like trouble.
Robbie, if you're listening, I'm never going to race you ever again.
Or maybe you should, and this time just pay really close attention to where you're going and beat him. We love pets, and if you have one, we would love to see yours.
Oh, I was anticipating this question. So my wonderful wife, Alicia, is actually with our star of the family, Ophelia, who loves treats. This is our blind kitty, Ophelia. We got her last year. She was at the local shelter, and she had to undergo some surgery on her eyes, which were eventually removed because she had really bad infection. So this is Ophelia, and she is our little blind daredevil, and she's really, really lovely. Sometimes she doesn't know where she is, so she gets a bit disoriented, but most of the time she's really, really awesome at her surroundings, and she plays like a normal kitty, and we love her. Thank you. Ophelia gets very spoiled here. She loves boxes. She'll get into boxes. She loves chasing around our other kitty, whose name is Millie. She's a little bit older cat. She's a black and white cat who is a lap cat, very lazy and very lovable. We do have a dog. Our dog is not here at the moment. She is actually playing with my I guess we would call her cousins, her cousin dogs. So she's a little mini Aussie named Sophie, and we love her too. So we've got 3 animals.
In this strange time, without being able to visit schools or do anything like that with your readers, are you offering virtual visits? And if you are, how can teachers find you?
Yes, I am definitely offering virtual visits in 2 ways. I do solo virtual visits, and teachers can reach me through my website, which needs updated, at bradmcbooks.com, BRADMC books.com. And there's a place where you can go and you can fill out a quick message that emails me, and you can ask me for a virtual visit, and I would love to visit with your kids. It's one of my favorite things to do. So yes, I am all in for virtual visits. I sit back there and just have a blast talking about books and writing and reading and offering what advice I can. The second way is through this wonderful group that I just joined in October called Spooky Middle Grade. You may have heard of the Spooky Middle Grade author group. I just joined them. They are wonderful people, and I'm having a blast being in that group. You can go to the Spooky Middle Grade website, Spooky MG, and you can book us that way. And whenever you book me through Spooky Middle Grade, you'll get 2 or 3 other spooky authors as well. So that is a fantastic way that your kids can get a free 30-minute visit with 2 or 3, sometimes even 4 spooky middle grade authors. But absolutely, please reach out. I would love to talk with your students. It's one of my favorite things to do. Yeah, for sure.
We've really enjoyed our time with you, Brad, and we thank you for the laughs and just being able to escape and share some book love and celebrate an amazing author. So thank you for hanging out with us today, and we look forward to your 4th book.
Thanks, Brad. See you later.
Bye. Talk to you soon.
Stay safe.
To all our wonderful readers, we hope you enjoyed our show and are inspired now to pick up some new and exciting books.